Welcome to Vichy and the return of the Six Nations Under-18s Festival to the country of France. Our hosts and one of the teams taking to the field here on match day number 1 of 3. The famous blue of the French. The reigning Six Nations Under-20 champions. The reigning Six Nations senior champions. And while there'll be no champion crowned here today, France will look to continue in the same Six Nations winning vein. But beware the new nation, Spain making their festival debut against the mighty France here in Vichy. First time in Six Nations Under-18s Festival history, the Anthem of Spain rings round the competition as they make their championship bow. In front of them is a richly talented France Under-18s side with no shortage of top 14 espoir among them. 2 from Toulouse, 3 from La Rochelle, Brive, Bordeaux, and Racing 92, all represented, and so too 3 from Pro de Deux in the starting 15. Remy Couty of Aurillac and Valentin Houteau, the scrum half. The captain is Liliane Barret, who will wear the number 8 jersey. For Spain, there is a huge focus on Spanish selection. There's a number of French-based players who have been overlooked for this festival as they look to back the work of their national academy. They were second at the Rugby Europe Under-18 Championship, and they have a first ever Spanish call-up for Lucas Oficial Martin at prop. In the engine room they have Markel Odrizola, who is plying his rugby trade at Biarritz. There's a number of silver medalists from that Under-18s final, and that includes their captain Aurélien Marcignac, who is the outstanding choice in the back line and earmarked to feature in the Under-20s World Rugby Championship later this summer. Kieran Stark of Scotland will purse his lips in the middle. For the clash of these two neighbouring countries. But history tells us our gulfs apart in rugby. Spain have never beaten France. However, There is always time for a first, and they will be buoyed by the memory that it was France who fell to Georgia as they entered the competition for the very first time, this time last year. The early carry is from France and Noam Vallot of Racing 92, and already the French ambition plain to see, flashing down the left flank and doing extraordinarily well to stay in play before they have their pockets pinched. The young Lions of Spain with early possession and territory in the French half. Lazy running from the French and a penalty bought by Spain's scrum half, Bernat Fernandez. And early promise rewarded with an opportunity for either points or a penalty into the corner.
Shot. Yep.
Shot called.
That one okay?
Spain.
Do not do it on purpose. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Fancy the first points of the contest.
Yeah.
Pedro Perez Bueno, who was the joint top points and try scorer in the Spanish Regional Championships, declines the opportunity to open his account here in Vichy. Spain aren't going to get a huge amount of opportunities to score points against this French side. And one has gone begging in the opening 2 minutes. Some goal line dropout, almost to the 22. Spain happy to play with ball in hand. Now, they go to the skies. Skies that haven't seen a cloud in them all day, and so much so that the shadow is almost pitch black on this right half of the field. Advanced by Valentin Puto of Massy, and there are huge numbers here, and there's wonderful vision and even better execution. And now the marauding back row, Matis Argenton, runs out of pitch to work with. A fine scramble from Spain, but notice serve. Spain eager to open them up on the edges.
Just slow him down, just slow him down.
An early bit of attention. It has been blisteringly hot all day today. This is the third game that this pitch is seeing. And there will be water breaks at the midpoint of each half. Claimed and then spilt by Spain. The hands of Marcos Sanz, putting them under a bit of unnecessary pressure.
Wait.
Product of the Madrid Rugby Centre, and that clearance isn't on the money either. Spain living by their wits and a slightly charmed existence in the 22. Big carry arriving from Markel Odriozola, but he finds himself forced to hold on as the support arrives a beat too late, and a penalty to France.
What are you doing? What is your decision? Okay, we can do that. If we need to stop them, that's okay, but let's just play for line.
Attention being administered at the moment.
Yeah.
William Barre
Let's go.
opts for the corner. Meron Fahi of Perpignan takes a modest touch finder. I think his pack would have liked to have slotted that a little tighter to the try line. last time these two met
Do we have a sub on?
was in 2018.
Can we play?
And the likes of
Okay, just hold. Just one
Mathis
more.
Lebel, Leo Carbonel, among those in French colours. That was in Rugby Europe in the Under-18 Championship. They've never met at a Six Nations because this is the first time a Spanish side has featured. And they're not overwhelmed by the occasion, that's for sure. Fine feet on show and a far too ambitious offload from Noam Valo. The Racing 92 centre hands a scrum to Spain. Six players who claimed silver in the Rugby Europe Championship last year are involved today for Spain, so a bit of championship experience, bit of championship success among the ranks. But they are flat out in reverse at that scrum, though illegally so. Saved by the referee's whistle and France's inability to stay legal on this occasion. That smacks of a school trip, and why not? Presumably in the holidays, and with the next generation of Six Nations talent on the doorstep. You'd be mad to not expose young minds to this rugby. No points scored so far.
Away. Yes, okay, the ball is there. Ball is there.
Spain foraging for that ball.
Back.
They're getting some clean service at the moment. A little under-resourced as the ball has slipped out the back, but that is fabulous strength from Marciniak. A little bit loose now. No advantage played. France at the moment, and their indiscretions are just feeding this Spanish side. Touch found by Perez. He wasn't happy with the return, that's for sure. But Spain with an entry into the French 22. They go to the middle and they claim it smartly. Spain pouring forward. The young Lions roaring in these opening exchanges. France can only bring it down illegally. Spain tap, they go, surge to the line, and it is an opening score on a historic day for the Spanish. Marcos Lopez etches his name into Spanish Under-18's history, the first ever try scorer at a Six Nations festival. And it's no less than what Spain deserve. Pedro Perez, this time is bang on target. The try maximised by the right boot of the fullback. Spain have shot out of the traps. France are shell-shocked. And the Spaniards lead 7 points to 0 with 10 minutes and a bit of change played.
Timing good. Timing good. Tackle.
France potentially reinvigorated by that concession, throw their bodies into the challenges, and now they can throw themselves forward from deep. Oh, silky dummy follows the aggressive dismissal of the challenger. It's a great buzz in the stadium, but there may just be a yellow card. No, there isn't, just a penalty. That could prove to be a shrewd decision, because a penalty is a good return, because if that pass had stuck, France were in and behind Spain. It was the inside ball to the trailing run of Valentin Huto.
Let's go.
France through their captain, Barret, into the 22. Ramping up the carries. Oh, the breakdown is chaos at the moment, and that's just how the Spanish will want it. They will be desperate to deny the French quick ball, but it's artfully unlocked by the handling of Huto, who has Hatuma on his shoulder. Lost forward though, in amongst the clinch, and Spain survive. There are a number of players for Spain who are in France. Lucas Martin at Bayonne, so too Talmo Fischer. Markel Odrizola at Biarritz, and Marcignac, a former Toulouse espoir. But 18 of the 26 players selected for this competition are all playing their rugby out of Spain. They're all part of the regional rugby centres that the National Academy have set up. And Spanish rugby right now is riding on the crest of a wave. Qualified for the Men's Rugby World Cup in Australia. Las Leonas with one to look forward to in less than 100 days, and now here at their first Under-18s festival, fighting off France. First sighting of Joachim Senga-Ku Gilbert, and now they surge down the right-hand side, swatting away the attempts. Virgile Trot almost wriggles free, but gets dragged down 5 meters shy. France building through their big ball carriers, almost a jackal, but doesn't quite stick. Desperate defense. 2 men in each hit for Spain, and it needs to be. They pick and go round the right. Discipline D from Spain until it's not.
Offside.
Hands on heads from the French forwards, who were working so hard to make this 22 entry count. What about that for the hands? then the strength of Dro.
Is he in line out? Is he in there? No. Okay, let's play.
Well, they got caught in two minds. Would they drive? Would they break? They break, and then they come back to the right-hand side. Big, powerful Amir Hatuma is too much from close range. Spinning to the paint. France respond. They open their account for this year's festival. The big boy from Bordeaux had two Spaniards clinging to him, but it wasn't enough to deny the loose head. Not only the strength, but also the sense of where the touchline and the try line were.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Lasered. What a kick. A fine, fine effort to the man whose break really got it all going for the French. Virgil Dro adds the extras to Hatuma try. .17.5 minutes played, and we're at sevens. Well, the chase was a little pedestrian from the Spanish. Kick was long, and it demanded a much hungrier hunt. And they're allowing France too much room out wide. They lose the ball, but backwards. And then the scrambling Dro, who is having some say across these last 5 minutes, advances France forward.
No.
Backdoor boogie, you love to see it. And France are pulling out all the tricks. Oh, sit down. Defense rushes up, and still the freedom to release the offload. French rugby is its finest. Lost forward, advantage being played. Pedro Perez all wrapped up, but just a glimpse of the gifts in France's attacking toolbox. A breathless passage draws the first water break. The game will restart in a moment, with France and Spain locked at 7 points apiece.
So they both clearly want to play. Yes, they both want space. They both want quick ball. Okay, so that's our focus. Make sure they have space. Make sure they have quick ball. Okay, go team. Yes, let's go. That's okay.
Hydrated and rejuvenated.
Last one.
Pack's prepared to engage.
Much better than first.
Federico Seguro, Josep Mikel Alapont, and Lucas Martin.
Okay.
The front three for Spain, and Amir
Let's get set.
Hatuma, Giovanni Tafili, and Noah Tinirello. The three French monsters who are binding up and awaiting the arrival of five similarly large young men behind them. France slip it into first, crunch through the gears, and they obliterate the Spaniards. It looks like a long day in the front row when it comes to scrum time for Spain. France will be full of confidence knowing they can weaponise that throughout the game. Tafili, asked too much of his jumper, and now Spain flash it through the hands, but maybe their ambition exceeds their execution. A beautiful pickup from Valo. Well, who's got it? Who wants it? There's a lot of talk in between those arms. Miraculously, Pablo Sanchez emerges from the tussle with Guti, and Spain clear the decks. Immense strength from the Spanish centre. Gets the better of the French Open side.
For me, straight on elbows, okay? Good reaction though, good reaction. Thank you.
Off the top, France go. They want to play with tempo. They want to allow their feet and their hands to do the talking. Crunching shot. Brings a halt to the move. You can see the intention of the way that the forwards are carrying. They want to free their arms up beyond the contact to work the offload. Chip into some unguarded space. Because all of a sudden it's guarded. To be cuter than that to catch out Pedro Perez.
11.
France into the corner once more from the penalty. But they need to get their line-out drills right if they're going to profit. Bit of pressure on Giovanni Tafili of Brive. Bank a ball at the front. That's the best way to exercise the demons of a missed throw the time before. Tafili installed, the ball smuggled backwards, and now the blue wave crashes across the Spanish defensive shores. And France have their seconds. Muted celebrations. France have had to battle to that Spanish line, but eventually the power play and Oscar Butez at the bottom of the heap.
Good toss.
Where are you from? Scotland?
Scotland.
First time in Vichy? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
Well, from closer in, Virgil Trot can't make it stick on this occasion, but France have the lead.
Yes, yes, play. No.
11 minutes of the half remaining.
Take it back.
70-minute matches at the Under-18s Festival. A reflection on the ages and also a four-day turnaround as well.
Thank you.
That these teams will face. Beautiful fears on the wide ball from Fahy. And France scampering in those dark shadows, but also shining in the light. Muscular D arriving from Lucas Martin and co. They are round the corner, a dog leg opens up, and goodness me, that was far too lax from Virgil Trout. The opportunity gone begging by the casual nature of the pass. A 3-on-1. Spain do have the ball pinched from them. It was the long arm of the try scorer, Butes.
No.
Now, one of the early replacements, Mattis Locatelli of Oyana, charges on forward. The captain, Barret, doesn't carry it in because Kuti does instead. Spain just can't resist getting their hands in. France will feast on these penalties. What do they do here? Big blindside to work with. I wonder if a scrum is the option. Well, it's worse for shoulders because Tafili fancies a tap and carry. Instructions barked at his teammates, but it was only going to be one man. Oh, it was the right idea, but the wrong pass.
No.
France recover and rebuild. Big clear out. Speed arriving from deep, and Valo finds the pass too hot to handle.
Yes.
Just not quite clicking for France. But that is not to take anything away from the tackling of the Spaniards.
Okay. Right. Is he in scrum? Yes. Time off. Up. Let's go. Okay, that's okay. What? Crouch! Bind! Set!
Lana Fernandez
Hold!
has got a devil of a job to fish that ball out of a forest of legs
Okay, we reset.
that are only travelling one direction and at
I need
pace.
you to remember 1.5 meters. I need you to stop. Okay? I will try and be louder. You try and stop. Okay? Okay? Reset. C'est bon.
when you look
I will try and be like
at the dimensions of these young men, and you also have been admiring their skill levels, it's easy to forget that they are just under 18 and they can't be driving beyond 1.5 meters. Reminded by the man in the middle.
Bind!
This is not adult senior rugby, although the quality would make you feel like it is. It's an interesting kick, finding some green space and a bit of confusion in the backfield, but Fahi's there to link up with his fullback. First glimpse of him bouncing around. Oh, beautiful hands, and just as the chip was coming in, the tackle arrived and trips Gaultier Saralte. He tumbles awkwardly.
Cease to go. Cease.
6 minutes to go.
We have played advanced enough. Back.
A bit of volleyball, Vichy style, from the Spanish pack. Falls in their favour. And pressure relieved once more, albeit momentarily. Sliced off the boot. Marc Artiles plays his rugby in Valencia. Unable to find the touch finder he wanted. To Philly. Spears it to the middle jumper. Oh, Spain have got their hands in there and they created a bit of chaos. Fine work, and then a brilliant carry on forward.
Take it back.
They target the touchline, they get an awkward bounce, but there's a lot of room here that France don't know how to maximise.
Okay. Just knock on and tackle.
Knocked on in the tackle, so scrum advantage for France. Spain will be content with that because they're playing rugby in the halfway line. Another inside ball, this time doesn't unpick the Spanish defence. And you see the muscularity of the carries from the French forwards.
And they tackle away quicker. Tackle.
You heard right there, he was happy with the work of Lucas Martin. But it was the tackle he hadn't rolled away that allowed him to get in there and poach the ball. Faye finds touch. Yeah, that was the breakdown that delivered the penalty. Tafili, not on the money again, and Spain survive once more. Now they're into the French half, not in possession, mind.
Retreat.
How big is that boot, though? A monster. Oh, my goodness.
50-22, yes.
A mighty 50-22 that took a wicked bounce. But let's not take anything away from the cannon that's attached to the right boot of Valentin Houteau. Extraordinary.
Two minutes.
They make it easy for Tafili. France target the front. The hooker is latched on. He pops up the periscope to see left or right, and he chooses a dead end that only has red jerseys at the bottom. Spain are in disarray. They're all offside and infringing, fighting for their try-line's life. Width on offer here for France with the penalty in the back pocket. A little ponderous in the centre and a shoveled offload too. Ooh, awkward fall as the Spanish player had to leap to claim the pass. France tap, they go, and they go right through the hearts of the Spanish defence. It is a brace for Butes. The big second row, who's shown the dynamism of a back row, on hand to receive a gift from Huto. With Spain reeling, it was light work for the second row.
Yes, let's go. You have 20 seconds. Va.
With the assistance of a lick of pain, Virgil Troll and Spain add the and France, I beg your pardon, add the extras, and they add a gloss to the scoreboard at the half-time interval. They have not had it all their own way. Spain have been excellent value in their first 35 minutes of Under-18's festival action, but they head to the half-time huddles, trailing France 19 points to 7. The hooters sound, but the reception is somewhat more muted than you may have thought would be the case on the opening round of the Six Nations Under-18s festival, especially being with the hosts, France, taking to the field. And that is because it has not been the exhibition of free-flowing French rugby that the home crowd and certainly the neutral would have expected. The mighty France up against the new kids on the block. Spain on debut in the festival, but making a firm account of themselves. An opening score, a bit of history from Marcos Sanz. And France have had to battle all the way to scoreboard supremacy. A late try at the end of the first half, putting a bit of a sheen on the opening 35. 19-7 they lead.
Okay. Time on.
And Meron Fahy of France sends a high hanging restart into the shadows of the Stade Municipal Louis d'Aragon in Vichy. And Fahy, who has looked like a bit of a live wire, there's intent in all of his deeds, makes a semi-burst. Big counter-up coming from Spain, who fought tooth and nail for absolutely every bit of advantage in the close contact areas, but you just cannot do anything about liquid hands full of French flair like that. The burst from Virgil Drot, the finish from Joachim Senga, Kuo Gilbert, and France come out firing in the opening 60 seconds of this second half. Well, he made a mockery of Pedro Perez there at full back, but he had to feel for the Spanish fullback, because everywhere he looked,
Rain, like in Scotland.
there were French runners, all the options you could wish for
Too hot.
for Gilbert. And in the end, he went it alone. Try number 4 for the French. And a pair of additional points for their ledger, 26-7. Home side lead. He's looked threatening, hasn't he? Senga Kuo Gilbert. Playing his rugby for Vin in Pro D2. Strong representation from Pro D2. It is a fine, fine league. Not the top tier of French rugby. By no means anything to be sniffed at. Spain concede a penalty for pulling down the arm of the French jumper. Just a sight of one of the replacements who are on for France in Igor Gatto of La Rochelle, wearing 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see to Akile Stoessel. Stoessel darts the ball in, and France are away, and increasingly Troll is having a huge say in dictating the Spanish defence. His hands, 2 offloads, and the captain Lilian Barret makes it a French blitz to open this second half. And they are really stamping their authority on this match now. France underwhelmed in the first half. Drôle.
Number 12.
Très drôle.
Merci. Okay.
Delay of the ball from the on-rushing Tana Keletayoana. And the captain finishing the job. Inconsistency has plagued all of our kickers today in Vichy from the tee. Sort of a dejected thumbs up there, but the inside centre has been magnificent and utterly instrumental.
Number? What number?
In the creation of these tries.
Yes.
Plays his rugby not too far from here. Lyon, we're in Vichy, which is, I don't know, around about an hour and a half's drive northwest of Lyon. Imagine a fair few friends and family are here to support the captain Lilian Barret.
Thank you.
He'll be very pleased with the influence of his teammate from Perpignan, Mehran Fahi. Looks an exciting player, doesn't he?
You stay in here, yeah. Merci beaucoup.
Spain finally get a bit of possession in their hands. Intricate shakes being offered for their first receiver. Almost looked a little confused. Well, they are confused in this instance. There's fresh energy at the base from Guillaume Bardina Bernadic.
Yes, offside. 2, 1, 2. 10. 10.
Into the 22. Spain venture once more. Well, it was a forest of arms that it had to travel through, but Josep Miquel Alapont finds his man, and the packer roared on by Bardina, almost whipping them to thrust forward. France have given away a penalty. Spain want more. Spain almost unstoppably to the line. Spain are at the line. It's a second. And I think it's the same man again. Marcos Lopez, the scourge of France in Vichy.
Captain. Captain.
Bags himself a brace on Spain's historic day.
Yeah, we walk.
And just gets them asking questions of the French resolve once more.
Onto their knees.
Yeah. That's penalty.
Yeah, that one was okay, but just if they do, simple. If they go down at the back, they just play away. Okay? Understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the conversion isn't added on this occasion, but the back row from Real Ciencias, who is another of these National Academy products delivering on Spain's big day.
The grounding is good.
I mean, the finish was good. The positioning of the referee was almost better. The Jenga of bodies, he was able to see the grounding.
Désolé.
And Spain have responded,
Désolé.
but now they need to steel themselves for a French attack, a swerving one at that.
No.
Gautier Saraute of Castra weaving his way forward. Holes opening up in this 15-meter channel. Blue bodies queuing up. And the pistons pumping as well from Tyrese Robert. Onto the field wearing 24. Out the back they go. Fahy zips it to the midfield, to the creator.
No. Good.
Stoessel dropped on entry to the 22. Now the turn of the captain, Barre.
Leave. No.
Wonderful pick of a hit. Fahy manages to skip away. It was a low one arriving from Marciniak. But that determination from the Spanish
Knock on.
has forced the knock on. And Spain will have a scrum put in, but
Okay.
after the way the first half went, they'll be fretting
Time off.
somewhat about what's going to be coming at them.
1, 2.
A lively game, isn't it? I think that many would have written Spain off
Do not need any pressure. Okay.
quite comfortably, but
Yes.
they have shown themselves to be more than worthy
Outside. Yes.
of the Under-18s festival, and they've done so in front of a young and energetic crowd as well, who are enjoying their day at the rugby.
Are you okay?
No problem.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It was a big advantage.
Yes. No problem.
Okay.
Teams as well enjoying proceedings too. This game 3 of 4. Wales and Ireland to follow and wrap up match day number 1.
I will go that.
Spain
I will go there.
with a great position to exit their 22.
Crouch!
However, job number one is offer some semblance of stability from the scrum. Well, France just can't hold their horses, can they? They know they've got the measure of this Spanish 8,
On this side, he goes straight down.
but they just can't control themselves. Straight down on the engagement. And a monstrous touch finder.
Okay, I need it up.
The kicking
Okay.
of all the young
Numbers.
men for all the
Numbers off.
teams today has been something to behold. Pedro Perez
A 13.
is another one of these young men
Next time.
who are not happy unless they're kicking it 50 metres plus down the touchline. Really is punishing work when penalties are conceded.
All okay? Substitutions all okay?
Replacement hooker John Rodriguez stays true to type for Spain. Their line-out has been excellent today. And here is the 2-try scorer, Marcos Lopez.
No, not on ball, no.
Spain enjoying some concerted time on the ball. Oh, it looked like it may be disguised, but he was absolutely lined up and smashed. 2 in the tackle.
Okay.
And Bardina shifts the focus to the left. Chidera Solomon Ibioba is on in the front row. There's some advantage here for Spain to work with. And Bardina finds his replacement prop, who's wearing 16. Crossfield, bit of altitude, bit of danger, but well watched by the French backfield. Well, after those 2 quick fire tries, you'd have been forgiven for writing the Spanish off, but
Tackler, then going into 9. Okay.
there's another
He needs to
converted
exit the
try
way.
here, make things interesting.
You take the line.
Do the nerves begin to jingle and jangle for the French?
Only.
And do some of them cast their minds
No.
back to what Georgia did to them last year as the new nation? It would be inconceivable on home soil
Yes, inside.
and with such a handsome lead of 19 points for that to pass
España.
again.
Open.
Spain
Yes,
have never
they have
beaten
the line.
France at any
You
level.
open. Okay.
Not 20s, not 18s. Their seniors have never played one another in a full test. But their 18s have 2 tries in Vichy. And they also
Ball.
have that ball claimed crisply in the middle. The driving maul is excellent
Down by block.
from Spain. They're drawing penalties from the French, and they can kind of roll the attacking dice here. Good confrontation between Marcignac and Dro.
21 high.
Marcignac, a former Toulouse Under-18s player.
Dos
And
advantage.
maybe paths have been crossed before with a lot of these Frenchmen. There is the penalty advantage.
12. You have one here, one in there. One here.
Well,
and one out there.
Marcignac is being
Okay.
asked, which penalty would you like? And I imagine the one tighter to the touchline. They're going to drive this into the corner, and they're going to test the mauling metal of the French once more.
Okay. 19. 19. Sub. 19. 19. Sub. Merci. Wait.
Changes being rung for the French. One large man goes off, another in his place, and straight into defensive duties. The rolling maul doesn't get the opportunity to be built. Spain are going to have to do it the hard way. Carrying. That is an immense carry. Blasting through the blue jerseys. There's options either side here for Spain, but they hold on. Now hands arrive in the ruck, and France surely are on their last warning.
It's okay, it's okay. Discipline now needs to improve. Okay, have a word.
Well, it's not an ultimatum. Said it needs to improve. Doesn't say next one goes.
Okay. Yeah.
But we're certainly
We check and then we wait. Okay?
verging
We check and then we wait.
on that scenario. Spain hunting a hat-trick of tries against France in their opening match of the festival.
Step.
Yes.
Six in the line out. They go to the front. They pick out
That's a maul.
Marcos Sanz. France have done well to spoil it.
Okay.
So again, to the pack, to their replacements, Chidera, Ibioba,
Look,
who's brought real energy and zest to the attacking ambitions of the Spanish. Well, the next pick and go is held up quite brilliantly by France. And they're not hanging around. They go long. Is anyone at home? Yes, they are. Spain. Oh, it's a wonderful pass. Fizzed right to the edge. But the resulting effort to beat the man sees the ball go into touch. And this is how close they were.
Next time. It's a scrum.
Well, it's a fantastic contest, isn't it? And Spain are going to be able to take real optimism,
Go against that. Yes.
no matter the outcome.
Yes.
The captain, he also say that at the impact, he would feed
England are up next
They're not-
for
they're not
Los
taking the weight.
Leoncitos.
Yeah, okay. So you
Whilst for France,
do not overpush.
Italy
You
awaits
make sure you take
Italy
the weight.
with a
Okay?
resounding
Hold the weight.
victory over
Do
Georgia
not overpush.
in the opening game of match day 1.
Merci beaucoup. Very good.
But now Paul Nava
Bind.
prepares to insert the ball, and his pack will do the rest.
Use.
They continue to eat the Spanish 8 alive at scrum time. Trill, such a classy player at inside centre. Just things happen around him, don't they?
Tackle.
Spain, though, once again, a muscular match to the French. Dribble through to defeat the on-rushing defence. Bit of footballing work. Oh, that is glorious. Go all the way. This will be a wonder if he can finish, but the chase back is exceptional. Telmo Fischer thwarting the French, who continue to pour forward through their big pack. Penalty advantage. Nava says, let's go wide, and the France say, let's finish unopposed. A second for Senga Kua Gilbert,
After this, we stop for water break.
but it was all about the footballing prowess of Tyrese Robert, who almost raced away for a worldie. Spain scrambling, and France with the cool heads to find the space out wide, and a simple finish for the fullback.
Let's go. Yeah. You have 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. That's right, Papuna.
Not a bad effort, but not quite there for Fahy. Let's have a look at this break. It was his vision. And then shinned and collected. And at this point, you thought this is going right onto the grid. Wonderful chase back from Telmo Fisher. The Bayonne man tracking down the man from Grenoble. Then hands, numbers. And half of France to finish in.
Good call. Adjust. Up here we need.
Final water break of the match.
That last one. That's what ball just went. That ball was up. Yeah. You okay? Yeah? Time on?
Match restarts with France in full control.
Once!
Another try from their fullback, reasserting their scoreboard dominance, but Spain look like a side who may have more points in them, and they will do if France present them with opportunities like that. A hard carry into the shoulder of Valot after a curious crossfield.
No. 16. What? One. Next one, yeah.
Penalty will do nicely. It is France 38, Spain 7. And Spain get the opportunity to deploy their biggest weapon, the driving maul, one that France have struggled to contain all match. They do so in this instant. Oh, spilt forward with the line begging. France, well, they don't care where they are. They will travel from anywhere. From the other corner of France almost. Eventually, though, the referee makes the call for them. We come back, the advantage there. And why not?
No, not on here.
This Under-18s festival is not just about winning. In fact, primarily, it is around development. It is about giving young players big competition exposure, media scrutiny, and also giving them the license to express themselves when the stakes, or maybe aren't quite as high as the seniors or under-20 Six Nations. That's when the pressure really ramps up, and that kind of adventure from within your own dead ball area is very much encouraged. France break, and they continue to break tackles, but the final pass spills forward. But there was penalty advantage already.
Number coming off. Time off. 14. 14 sub. Nineteen. You. Yes, you.
Well, the score has been updated. 36-12 it is. Of course, that conversion no good from Mehran Fahi. But everything all present and correct on the scoreboard. France. Winning a slew of penalties now. And a slice of the rhythm of the match has deserted us. This French team are going to have grand ambitions when you consider the exploits of the 20s and the seniors and what they've done this year in the Six Nations, but we really must laud the performance of Spain here. First time ever competing at this level. Runners up to Georgia in the Rugby Europe Under-18 Championship. So they're no slouches, but this really a step up. We saw that with the performance that Italy put together over Georgia earlier this morning.
Okay. No.
Spain have more than held their own against the French. And it would be out of court for them to score a third. This man's taken his opportunities when they've come. Senga, Kuo, Gilbert. Oh, that's a testing pass and a big hit arriving bang on time. Spilt forward by France. Spain fighting to resource the ball to use it in transition, but they have to settle for a midfield scrum, which ordinarily you would say is a gift. But the scrum has not been their set-piece playground today. They've been under the cosh from the French, so it'll be a case of can they get it out quick enough to exploit the opportunity with two big sides
He was good.
that are difficult for France to defend.
Okay. That's the picture I want from a turnover. Yeah, okay, that was very good. But just we come back to the knock-off. Okay. We are still on the warning for discipline in the 22. Okay? Okay. We need to stay tidy. Okay? No, for me, you go straight down. Okay? I need your picture to be like his just there. Okay? 16. That's a good picture. Yeah, you are straight to ground.
Segundas. Solo, te lo comes, solo, te lo comes. Fuertes y bajos. Te lo comes.
Crouch! Bind! Sit!
1, 2.
France looking to travel from their 22. Well watched and wrapped up by strong Spanish arms. Tackle called and then flying through the breakdown in at the side. France aren't hanging around, and I have to say I welcome it. So many penalties, so many stoppages. A flowing game has ground to a halt of late, but now France are looking to reignite it. Triple miss pass, big carry from Tana Keleteona.
No.
Oh, slam to the ground as France make headway. And now it's Spain's turn to receive a favourable blast to the referee's whistle. Holding on the ground.
Oh, look alive, that's staying in.
Touch missed, and instead dead ball found. All the way back Spain will come.
Okay, options, 22, a scrum. Okay, which number for France? 10, sub. 10, sub. 10. Yeah.
Spain, by the way, as it stands, this will be their finest ever performance against France as one of the linchpins of their attack. Mehran Fahi makes way. Sparky 63.5 minutes from the Perpignan playmaker.
Crouch! Bind! Sit! Hold! Good! Tackle! Roja, away! Gracias.
Quick ball for France to work with. They're looking to get it wide. A chasm opens in the midfield just by the tip of a stud. Is the France strike runner tripped? Oh, and then the handling lets them down. Just as you think you're getting some fluency, a feather forward off the fingertips.
4 minutes. 4 minutes. Inside.
Brings a halt to play.
In scrum. Okay.
4 minutes to go.
Time off. Okay. Thank you.
A game that is crawling to its conclusion now. One more game to come. Italy versus Wales.
Yeah, good.
To round off a bumper day of Under-18s festival action. One that's seen Italy
This one?
with a commanding performance over Georgia. England putting Scotland to the sword.
The captain. Is he playing 8 right
Spain.
now? So we wait. Yeah. Okay.
Saying to the Six Nations watching world, and we're not just here to make up the numbers.
It's a good Spanish accent you've got there, mate. No, that's fine. He's playing 8 right now, isn't he?
And a little joke there with the referee between him and Mark Alexander Miska Alvarez,
are we playing?
who is from the Lees in the UK, plays his rugby for Northampton Saints. In fact, he was a Premiership Academy winner, but as you might have guessed from the name, there is some Spanish heritage. His mother.
Well, he's captain.
He's the second captain, but
And it'll be a very, very proud
he is the injured
moment
player, so just send him
for
off.
them
He is injured. He
to
is
see
off the
young
pitch
Mark
on the other
take
side.
to the
Right
field
way.
in the red of Los
You can all be-
Leoncitos.
You can all be captain. Good. Yeah. Crouch! Bind! Set! Okay. Just reset. Sim.
segunda, señor, le estoy ganando la postura.
Get your feet right. Get your feet right, okay? Get your feet. Good. Yeah.
A sad sight to see the captain, Oriol Marciniak, hobble from the field.
Crouch!
Very talented sevens player also. Another department in which
Set!
Spain are thriving in at the moment. Their men's team flying high in the HSBC sevens. And this man too in Vichy, 2 scores for the hard-working number 8, Marcos Lopez. But upended unceremoniously, and his loose offload has put Spain on the back foot here. Aggressive counter-rucking. Oh, elusive footwork and really stuck in coffin corner. Spain have done immensely well to clear beyond their 22. Though Spain have depth and they've got real pace out here from the 10-metre. Bit of footwork employed by Noam Valo. Hardline arrives from the blind spot. Spain do well to fell the big French runner. Slipped out the back. A prop in the 15-metre channel, and that's what you do. Drop your shoulder and go hard. Zach Price cannoning. France seeking width, seeking more tries.
Back!
And it's a light touch from the fingertips of their halfback. Valentin Houteau back onto the field. His creative touch. Now they're feeding the hard-running lines. France 2 meters shy. The ball drifted out the back, a bit of width put on it. Pressure arriving from the Spaniards. And they've done well to not just repel the French, but they've driven them back another 5.
It's okay, the ball is there. He has worked hard.
Spilts in the tackle. Spain survived the onslaught.
Ball still live, ball still
The ball
live,
is still live, and the French aren't hanging around. On a hat-trick, Senga Kuo Gilbert. Now it's Tyrese Robert. Risky offload. The French are really chancing their arm now. But the Spain, not just the match, but bettering the French in that set. Utter commitment and courage from the Spanish, who spot the backfield undefended, and they fancy a third. France chasing back, running in treacle. Lung-busting, lactic-inducing, end-to-end action to round off this contest. And another thunderous Spanish shoulder arrives on the scene to defend the integrity of the line. Unax Carballo has the final say with a granite right shoulder. Spain may have lost the battle, but they emerged from the field with their heads held very high. Defeat to France, but by the narrowest margin in the history of these two at under-18 level. France fired at times, but they were made to toil by a tenacious Spain. Final score here, France 36, Spain 12.